forum given by Linda Hooper, the Executive Director of the Samburu Project. It's my pleasure to introduce Linda, someone who I've known my entire life. For 30 years, Linda was the director of my grandfather's art gallery in Los Angeles, where she worked with many prominent contemporary art collectors, artists, and museums. In 2005, Linda visited Kenya for the first time and saw the true effects of water scarcity. Her involvement with the Samburu Project, whose mission is to provide access to clean water and to continue to support well communities with initiatives that promote health, education, and women's empowerment. She began as a volunteer, then became a board member, and eventually in 2016 became the second executive director of the organization. I wanted Linda to come and give a Friday night forum because I believe that her work and that of the Samburu Project completely reflects our own school values of respect, integrity, curiosity, service, and stewardship of the natural world. Whether we run recycling routes, feed animals in the zoo, give tours to prospective students, or even refill the ink in whiteboard markers, we are all involved throughout our community service in making our community a better place. Linda taught me the importance of being involved in your local community as well as being a global citizen. We can make a difference anywhere in the world. Please give Linda a warm welcome. Thank you.
Hi, Millbrook students. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and talk with you this evening. I first want to say Happy International World Water Day. Did any of you know that it was World Water Day today? No?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I missed the school.
Okay, good. I want to start by just asking you guys some questions. Who today took a shower? Raise your hand. Keep them raised, okay? Who has your water bottle with you? Anybody have a water bottle with you? Did anybody wash your hair today?
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody feed any animals today? A few of you at the zoo, maybe? Did any of you have to walk 10 miles to get that water? Show of hands, who had to walk 10 miles? Not many, right? So you guys are super lucky, because not everybody in the world can say that. That's what we are here to talk about today, is water, and how the Samburu Project is trying to eliminate that extraordinary problem for people that live in the northern part of Kenya. I'm not used to using this clicker, so be patient with me. So, as Lily said, I went the first time to Kenya in 2005, and that's me getting off the little Bush airplane. You see landing on not a tarmac, but just an open dirt path that was cleared. So when you land in Samburu, that is your introduction. There's no roads, there's very little internet connectivity, very little cell service, and the people that live there live right on the equator, and they are feeling the immediate impacts of climate change, and thus the Samburu Project was born. So I didn't know that Lily was giving my whole life story in her introduction, but I did go the first time to Kenya in 2005, just on safari, on vacation with my family, and it was amazing. Has anyone here been to Africa? I knew a lot of you would, right? Has anyone been to Kenya? Excellent. Did you enjoy? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're impressed when you're driving around, having the time of your life in your safari vehicle and seeing animals, and you are just amazed. It's like you're in the middle of a National Geographic special on television. The animals are beautiful, the landscape is beautiful, and coming from the art world that I did, this is what really blew my mind, that it was just so beautiful, because when you're in America, what we mostly think about as Africa is those commercials on late at night, like children with flies on their eyes, and it's very depressing, and that was not at all the Kenya that I experienced. It was really beautiful. But as I'm having the time of my life, seeing all these animals and all this beauty, when you're going from one place to another, you're seeing a lot of women carrying water on their head, carrying water in a wheelbarrow, carrying water a really, really long distance, sometimes with a jerry can on their back and a baby on the front. And I just see this again and again and again. And as a woman, you're thinking, oh, I'm so glad that I don't have to do that every day. What else can they do besides go looking for this water every day? So it was a real eye-opener for me, and an image that I couldn't really shake when I got home. So I immediately started looking for an organization that I could help with to work on this problem. So that's me going back to Kenya in 2016 and meeting a number of the women in our villages. So this was the drilling of the Kiji well. This was my first time going to actually witness drilling of a well. It took 5 days, and it was continuous, nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. It's a very loud process, and the drill bit is going in the ground, and it's kicking up a lot of dust and making noise, but the people were just coming and going and bringing their jerry cans because they heard water was going to come out of the earth. And I will not lie that the minute that it comes out, it is amazing. There is so much singing and dancing and celebrating, something that will live in my heart forever. I see videos of it, and I was there, and it still makes me cry. It's incredible. Before people have water in Samburu, this is what collecting water looks like. This is a dry riverbed. That line on the horizon where the trees are coming out, there used to be water all the way up to that top. And so the people know there's water under that ground. They get themselves down there and they just start digging in the sand. And eventually some water will come out. It's got sand and dirt and probably contaminated with animal feces, but that's the only option. Then they have that jerry can on their back and they take it home with them. That's a staggering number. 703 million people are suffering from the water crisis. Just try to contemplate. It's such a big number, we can't even imagine what that must be like. I know that right now we're living in a very challenging world, and we're concerned about the Middle East and the Ukraine and Haiti, and even places in America that don't have access to clean water. But I want everyone to know that those conflicts hopefully will be resolved, but the water crisis will continue. And it goes on every day, 24/7, for lots of people around the world. And that is why the Samburu Project exists. I want to just start by showing you a video and introducing you to Damaris Lecarmeto, who's going to tell you what daily life is like when you wake up and there is no way to brush your teeth or wash your hair or take a drink or prepare food or clean your house, clean your hands. What is that really like? So, part one of our water story.
naitwa Emily Letiwa.
Kwa majina naitwa Ana Dokoya.
Mimi naitwa Jacqueline Danatini.
Kaji Maria Dada.
Kayengakna magatakanko.
Kaji Dananu Damaris Lemarketo.
Aren't you glad you didn't have to do that today? I'm showing you this slide just to let you know that Samburu is a beautiful place. Lots of people go there on safari. There's incredible wildlife there. It's home to indigenous animals that you won't see anywhere else, so a lot of people come to Samburu for the wildlife. But those animals, they're thirsty too. And especially elephants, they can smell water. So it's a very interesting ecosystem where the humans and the animals have to exist together to share resources. And we're very aware of that when we're deciding where we can put a well. So this is just to encourage all of you to come to Samburu at some time because it's really beautiful. I want to just give you a little bit of background on who are these Samburu people, what is this word, and familiarize you. This is the name of a place, Samburu County, and the people that live there, the Samburu people. The language that they speak is called Samburu, and I liken it to American Indians. When you talk about the Navajo Indians, you're talking about a place, the language they speak, and the people that live there. So it's very, very similar. Samburu is about the size of Massachusetts, and there's a little over 300,000 people that live there. They live what we call a pastoral lifestyle. That means that the people that live there raise animals for their livelihood. So they raise camels, cattle, sheep, donkeys, and they raise these animals, which means those animals also need water, they need pasture land. And the men generally take these animals away from the villages to find those resources for the animals, and then wander their way back to where the women and children are living. When they need money to buy clothes or food stuff, they take one of those animals to market and they sell it, and then they get currency. But the livelihood and the health of the animals is absolutely critical to their own existence. While the men are out with the animals, the women stay home with the children, and they are known for this incredibly beautiful beadwork. That's a cultural tradition that's passed along from grandmother to daughter and so on. So they've been looking like this for generations, and they're quite beautiful. I often hear, where do you get those models? And I say, no, they're just really, really beautiful, and this is what they have as a tradition. You'll see in this slide that we're talking about collecting water from hand-dug wells, and you saw the women in the video doing that, but I want you to know that this is common for schools in Samburu. These are the children from the Pus Lelawai. They take jerry cans and cups and bowls, and they go out to this kind of a sandy place next to a riverbed, and they dig in the sand just like in those deeper rivers. But you'll see the animals at the very top of the slide, and those animals have come there to get water. So animals are doing what animals do and leaving their feces and their droppings out in this sandy place, and that's what eventually contaminates this water. They're going to take all these jerry cans back to school and turn it in to their cook that prepares everything for the school. So the other thing that's a real threat in this situation is crocodiles, because as the water goes down in the off-season, the crocodiles kind of bury themselves in the sand, and that has been proven to be extremely dangerous to the students and faculty at this school. So a few years ago, we drilled a well for them, and they no longer have to do that activity. With all of that said, the women walking so far away, the danger of actually collecting water, being out in the wild with elephants and snakes, going to these rivers where there's also other predators, the Samburu Project was born to address those issues and find an easy solution for a really extraordinary problem. We were started in 2005. The first well that we drilled was in 2006. It is still pumping clean water to this day. So I'm extremely proud of that. Over 90% of our wells are still working. And that is because we addressed the sustainability issue by having an amazing staff on the ground in Samburu that are Samburu people. So when there's an issue with one of these wells, they call our team, we send someone out on a motorbike, we help get it working again. So this is just our basic mission statement to tell you more about what we're up to. Once we put a water point in, our commitment then to that community deepens. With the access to water, we then focus on 4 main areas of impact: health, education, women's empowerment, and overall community growth. There's so many projects that we could engage in, but these are the 4 areas where we really see impact. And we also are collecting data. With each water project that we do, we send our team into the field, we interview 10 families before we drill the well, and we ask them all sorts of questions. How much water they use every day, how often did they get sick, where's the closest health clinic, and so on. So we take this pre-water data. And then after the project is finished, we go back 6 to 8 months later, we find those same 10 families. Hopefully they haven't moved somewhere. We ask the same questions, and then we're able to really know this is the impact of our work. I'm going to take you back now to our video, and we'll continue with our water story.
Kaya sana lang kay. Ngayon na bagay na ako bisi kita nga tayo bisi. Dapat tumana na lolo bisi mo niya kay. Uri na lang yung tako nga na si mo gusto na sana di sila kiteng.
Kaya sila apa? Wala na po nakakapag. Kaya nasay, para ba tayo yung isa ko lang. Dapat na mo iskay, inayasay berbaka.
Itu dah kaya ko sa amin lang di ko juga dah para na to na niya tanya ni miyo na di ko. Pero badan ko to na.
Agora porque o cliente dele vai sair com tempo se causar anak lagi ya dikatakan anak kan.
Bakal mama, maka dan aku nak cuci. Kalau dia minta nak cuci, tu mana lain belakang apa itu? Lain pun ada jangkai nana ayo. Nak pun nunggu tak kait kaki.
Hai, boleh naik arti baju berani.
Thank you. Please, that deserves a clap, right? So that was the hard part, getting that rig there where there's no roads, finding that exact point where our hydrogeologists thought there might be water, drilling 200 meters into the earth and seeing the water come out. And now the fun part starts. Because of that clean water, we circle back to those 4 areas of impact. Health. These children will no longer be ingesting contaminated water. There will be no more deaths for children under 5 years old like they had before. Education, they've already started a school. You saw that this was drilled in July. There's already a school under a tree and somebody is teaching little toddlers their alphabet and their numbers. That's the first education that that community has ever had in the very, very remote place where they live. Empowerment and community growth. There is someone there who's already started a garden. You'll see her in another video. And this all has happened since that well was drilled. So the impact is pretty immediate and really life-changing. Kind of drilling deeper into those 4 areas, I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about those 4 impact areas. So the first is health. All the communities that we work with, we do a workshop and explain to them the importance of sanitation, the importance of washing their hands, how the water they were ingesting before had disease in it, and that this water is clean and fresh, and why it's going to be healthier for them. Also how to keep their jerry cans clean and things like that. We also support health clinics with solar panels and rain catchment systems and menstrual hygiene. This is such a big area in areas like Samburu where women and girls have no access to actual menstrual products. Girls that are in school during their period, they just stay home. So imagine if 1 week out of every month you got your period, you just stayed home. You think you're going to be able to keep up in school? Will you ever equal your male counterparts? Probably not. So this has been an area where the Samburu Project has really leaned in. I know that you guys have a menstrual club here at school, right? Is there anyone here from the menstrual club? Millbrook, what is it?
Millbrook Menstrual Movement.
Millbrook Menstrual Movement. Thank you. It's a great cause for women to support each other and to also know that when women are lifted up, everyone is lifted up. So it's a really important issue for boys and girls as well, and Menstrual Hygiene Day is May 28th, in case you want to know that. And we'll be having a big drive and a fundraising for that initiative coming up soon. That kind of dovetails into the importance of water on education. We actually collaborate with 20 schools in Samburu on issues of obviously health and hygiene, providing water to the school. It seems unconscionable to us here, but when the Kenyan government comes and builds a school, they build a schoolhouse. They don't necessarily build a well or toilets or other things that we think are just normal to have at a school. So we've supported schools with not just supplies, we give some students scholarships, And we've built dormitories and other additional buildings for schools. And what you see in this slide is like our crowning jewel, that we built a whole block of showers for the girls at the Tepito Girls' School. This is the only school in Samburu that has overhead showers. The girls didn't even believe it was a thing. They were so excited. They came dancing and singing in their uniforms, jumping in the showers, because they had never seen an overhead shower before. So this was a fantastic project, and a lot of these educational projects, big ones like that, like an extra classroom or showers, we do this fundraising on Giving Tuesday, which is a holiday that comes after Black Friday and Thanksgiving. So that was a great day when we opened those showers. Women's empowerment is also a really important issue for us, because when you give a community water and the women are no longer walking 10 or 12 miles to fetch dirty water, their life has changed. And these are women who have not gone to school, who have had no education, who are basically illiterate, and now their life has changed forever. They want to do something fulfilling with their life. They want to start a business, they want to join other women in some kind of activity, they want to spend more time with their children, and we are there to kind of help them take that next leap in development. We have the Samburu Sisters workshops where we talk to them about how HIV/AIDS happens, reproductive health. These women who have themselves had, 6, 8 children have no idea how that baby got in their belly. They think God put it there. This is how remote and uneducated they are. So we have women who are Samburu women to come to talk to them about matters of their own health, their rights under the law, a lot of topics that are facing a changing world, because even though they're living in a remote place, remember, those tourists from the West are coming, and these women have cell phones. So modern life is coming. We want to try and help them just prepare themselves a little bit more once they have water. They also are selling this beadwork that is their cultural tradition. And we support the women by buying those beadworks, bringing them back here, offering them for sale to support our programs, but also to remind the people that are wearing those bracelets and wearing that jewelry that, hey, you are connected to people on the other side of the planet. And because you bought that $20 bracelet, you're helping someone have water. So it's kind of twofold. We help the women there, and we're supporting our programs. Ultimately, all of these programs mean that a community is growing. This is how development happens. I think you probably study some of these concepts in Model UN. I know you guys have a Model UN here, right? How development happens. It takes a lot of energy from a lot of different collaborators. And ultimately, when we keep going back to our communities and we see, oh yeah, these ladies, now they started a chicken farm, and these ladies started a beekeeping, and these guys are able to pool their resources and buy more livestock. So that water is the root of everything when it comes to a community. Their health, their education, women's empowerment, and the growth for the entire community. So now we have our third part of our water story. Check it out.
Kama nyan kon kada na ngara kada ngara yo kuna ngara burongwa kitiware primary na kitiware nursery
kata mayana nga yai shon ngara isi kore kuna ngara ile nise ko ile suku
na hivi ferolipi na wale wasistangu na ndugu mse na wanakaa hapa wote.
Inaitwa Lupai. Ninaishi na watoto wangu wa 7 na mzee wangu.
Ni mama watoto 4, watoto wangu wote wanaenda shule. Kitambo hakuna maji huku. Tulikuwa tunaenda asubuhi, tunakuja saa 8. Tulikuwa na shida sana ya maji.
Yani dada na dankara. Yani kutu dankara da shida koshake tangara kinyare no tumto shida ngirata neji da bagi tada bagi ko tu tangara ngajeng ngara nara chafna ili ne diri nama tadi ni kumatayo
yo kene rumba ka sere ili minyasa yungan kwenda reforma ka takum ndo ka shukune kenyare ko koto kechafa
igi nyoto tenne sabo gore bulo ke perde ide nuo ngare ni dumia sayara gore bulo tuta bejo mudage yongari yanare.
So hiyo ilinifanya ni apply hiyo Samburu Water Project kwa sababu kina mama wengine ni wazee sana wenzani, unakuta mama anatetemeka akienda kutafuta maji ya 5 lita. Hiyo kitu ndio iligusa roho yangu, nikasema wacha ni apply ndio tusaidie sisi wote.
sababu ya wakati imepungua muda. Zamani nilikuwa nakaa sana kwa maji tu. Na sasa shinda is almost to a day ama full day.
Turugi ni anare, tugu tumaga nare, me ata ngu ni de belege. Kore lu karai ke de kwa besha. Kamere ta ta ushuru, kamere ta sukari, kamere ta mshele, kamere ta maragwe, kamere ta msukuti serimeni, kamere ta naisinye. Ni yonga ya change sopa ngari mkutu.
Sahizi biashara yangu imeinuka kabisa kwa sababu niko na wakati sahihi ya kuuza. Hata nikienda soko nikuja masaa kama haya, maji ni karibu, na nakimbia maji na nakuja kupikia watoto wangu.
Na kajo hao lenga siamu. Yonda ndunga jirene ja eta baketa no woji mpajole kada nangari. Ngoyo na gidi tena. Hiyo tangu na nare ngona kaya mabadiliko ndi. Kaya changes tapo ndi. Kada maso biashara. Kami tala sabuni na miromui na mirimba bakan takina tumata jo ochoro mchele na hiyo to tunaji yo kuna shilingi na tumnano ninya saja neti akira are ngara ini asumengara ini
udah ke customer na me ata ko yendo moji to kalu ikuata ke sere ni kuata ke ni o kwa ngari to ni na ba ke dikwa wala magata faida kaya ta ngara school gata jinga group na nukor na kita zaman na bikin zaman na mirgo ram tina na kini me jada anare tene da botro kuli anare matu bana ya sigari.
Nashukuru sana Samburu Project wote kwa sababu wametusaidia, wametutoa mbali sana kwa maji na mahali tumefika.
Ega yo denga braga yare da gani ole na ikarni ngai shukrani.
Mimi sasa nasema ni asante kwa Linda na madada ambao mtuletea maji, tunashukuru sana.
Water changed my life.
Water changed my life.
Water changed my life.
Maji ni uhai.
Clean water changed my life.
Water changed my life.
Together we can be the change.
I'm really glad you enjoyed the video because it was challenging last summer getting all that footage. So very few people have seen those videos, so I'm really excited that you liked it. It's World Water Day, as I said in the beginning, and there's a lot of organizations around the world working on this problem. We are just working in this little tiny place in East Africa, in Kenya. But we're very different because we're small. You guys might know those commercials that Matt Damon's in for water.org or Charity Water or USAID or Save the Children. There's so many big organizations who have names more famous than us. But because we're small, we have 5 people in Kenya who are there, who are on the ground. And when there's an issue, we're there to help. And it's immediate. and we are embedded in the community. And if something comes up that we are not versed in, like, you know, the Women Samburu Sisters messaging, we find someone who is, and we partner with them. So we really have a community of people in Samburu that are working to encourage healthy global development. Being small, you feel an immediate impact of your participation with our organization. Positive change only happens because it's in our hands. And that's why I'm here today, just to talk to you about how important your voices are, and your actions and your passions are to make a difference in the world. As I said, we work with a lot of schools, not just in Kenya, but here in the United States. This is just a short list of some of the schools that we've worked with around the country. You see that we have Model UN clubs that we work with. We have interns, Slee Boyev, which was our star intern last summer. Sealy School, which is right down the road in Westchester. They've had a Walk for Water for 8 years in a row, and they have raised funds for half a well and more. Miracosta High School, they have a tribe club at their school. They have events throughout the year, you know, bake sales and so on, that supports the Samburu Project. This community, Woodside High School and Woodside Primary School, it's a very small community in California. That community, since the organization started in 2005, they have been involved with us, and over those many years, they've been responsible for over 30 of our wells, just through those school walks for water and support of their families and so on. We also have individual students that this issue really resonates with them, and they give their birthday or their bar or bat mitzvah for the Samburu Project. We have families that have combined resources with other family members to raise money for a well. We had this one young woman who was Indian, and she made this amazing Indian evening where she did fundraising for the Samburu Project. All of these families then went to Kenya, had an incredible experience with our team there, visiting the well community that they supported and interacting with them. So this is really something that if this speaks to you or your family, you can definitely think about it. Get involved with, get in touch with me and see what you might be able to do to really have an impact on a bigger scale. Or come join us on Sunday for the first Millbrook Walk for Water. I know that Lily has sent, I think, invitations to everyone. Just come, join us. Walk in solidarity for the students and families in Samburu that are walking great distances every day. We're going to walk and have a good time doing it, and this hopefully is just the beginning of your involvement with our organization. I went too far. Because every step really matters. To spread awareness on the issue, I encourage you to make a donation if you so choose to. Follow us on our social media. We want all of you to follow us and keep up to date on what our activities are and engage with us, share with your friends and family, and come to me with ideas that you might have for in your community of other clubs or organizations that you think this is an issue that would resonate with your friends and family. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you out there. And I just want to say thank you so much for Ms. Havard and Lily and all of you for coming out tonight and learning about the Samburu Project. I really am excited to meet as many of you as possible on Sunday. And I think that's all I have, but I think Lily's going to come and help me with some questions and answers. Yeah?
If anyone has any questions.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. So I do have a question. Are there like organizations out there trying to help them build like homes and communities closer to water sources? Or is that something that some of these organizations are doing?
I don't think that organizations are trying to help the communities move anywhere. They are pastoral, so they move wherever they want to go. So we have witnessed that once we will build a water project, they are very capable of dismantling their stick structures, which is called a boma, and move it to where the water is. We don't have any say in where the water is going to come out of the ground. So we try to put it as close to their homes as possible, but sometimes the water just isn't there. So if we put the well a mile from their house, they move their houses, the whole community moves. Any other questions? Yes, sir, at the top.
What's sort of like the carbon footprint and like long-term environmental risk of drilling?
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because the Samburus are actually the beneficiaries of carbon credits. So there's, companies that are selling their carbon credits, and they are actually financially benefiting from that on the other end. Yes?
How much does it cost to build
It costs $24,000 to drill a hand pump well. And the project that you saw in the video where the water came out and there was that project actually is our most ambitious project to date. It was drilled 200 meters. So that project was $40,000 US, but the majority of our wells are drilled to 70 meters, and then you are able to get that water out of the ground just using a hand pump, so it's much less expensive. Anyone else? Am I missing anyone?
Grace. You said that they live on the equator, so they're facing firsthand the effects of climate change, and I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yes, excellent question. The Samburu people were saying years and years ago that their rainy season wasn't as long, that their animals were dying in greater numbers than their previous generations. They're really experiencing that livestock mortality in great numbers, and because that is the source of their income, of the fiber of their society, they are facing a future that looks pretty grim without those animals. So part of our assistance to them is teaching them that with water, you can grow crops, you can grow food for your family. It's really, I've been going since you saw in 2016, and every summer that I go, it's hotter and hotter. Last summer when I was there, there were many days that were over 120 degrees. It was just oppressive. So it's impacting their crops, the animals, and just their daily existence. So it is a critical issue. Anyone else?
You said they were really dependent on their animals when they needed water. So how has the access to water through the wells impacted their livestock? Or have they not needed that as much because they have water now?
Yes, they are not out grazing as much looking for water because they have this access to clean water now. But they are still looking for grassland to feed the animals. So that's another reason why we want them to start growing certain kind of crops and cultivating areas that are near to their homesteads. But being able to pump and bring all the animals to drink every day, sometimes you go to a well and there's groups of people. This guy who has 100 cattle, and this person that has 50 goats, and this person that has how many sheep, and they're all basically like in a line waiting to get their animals to that animal trough to get water. Yeah.
I know this sounds like a stupid question.
No stupid questions.
But why don't they just build their houses near the water instead of 10 miles away?
Right. Well, first of all, they didn't know that the water was going to come out there. So when they know that they have access to clean water, they do move their houses. But
I mean the oases.
So the drone shot that you saw with that big open area of water, that only happened because it rained. And that natural indentation in the earth filled with water. That's not a constant thing for them. that is their cultural birthright, that land. And because they have very little education, they really are not able, for many reasons, to just up and go to Nairobi and get a job. So they feel very much tied to the land. Raising animals is the only thing they know how to do. And there's no need for that in a city where you might get some kind of menial job. It is definitely a crisis for the Samburu people, that the one thing they know how to do is being kind of pulled out from under them because of climate change. They don't want to move because that's their birthright. That's been the land in their family for generations. All we can do is help them to meet the challenges of a changing world. Yes?
Then why don't they have fundraisers to educate them then?
Well, there are a lot of organizations that education is a huge, huge issue for Samburu people, and the government is putting more schools. Actually, primary school is free. So if you can get your kid to where there is a primary school, they can go there. Yes?
Do these wells last forever, or can have to be more work in the future to dig deeper or redo the wells?
Good question. They are self-replenishing. Samburu is a very mountainous area, so there are rains that might happen up in 3,000 to 4,000 feet, and that rain goes down into the earth and replenishes the aquifers where the wells are drilled. So we have not had any wells that fail, that run out of water. We have had wells that actually, as ironic as this sounds, we do have wells that have been wiped out by flooding. I'm from California, so we know very well that flooding and drought are opposite sides of the same coin, right? When it gets so hot, the earth gets parched and hard. So then, when the rain comes, it can't absorb all that water, and it starts a flash flood. So we have had some wells that were taken out by flash flooding, but our commitment is to those communities. So the next year that comes by, we make sure that we replace those wells for those people. So I think the average that they would say is that a hand pump well lasts for 6 years. And that's on the good side, if you just put it there and leave. But because that we have a team there who's constantly assisting the communities with maintenance, our very first well that we ever drilled in 2006 is still working. So being a small team is the secret to our sustainability. I don't think there ceased to be a Samburu Project and there was no one there to assist the communities, I don't know how many of the wells would continue pumping into the future. But we're doing our best to assist those communities and keep them up and running until development just starts naturally happening in an organic way. And even there are towns in Samburu, there are some towns, and there are people who live in a house with a tap, but when they turn it open, nothing comes out. A lot of people that live in those communities, one called Wamba, one called Archer's Post, they take jerry cans and they go to our wells and get water and take it home to their house. So it's really a critical issue, and one that, we have 155 wells, and they are keeping people alive. Hi, yeah.
A lot of the women in the video talk about starting businesses.
Yes. Sure. Most of those women that you saw in the video sell household goods or foodstuffs. One woman sold shoes, and another woman talked about selling flour and sugar. So in these rural areas, a town might have a market day one day a week. So on Wednesday, all these trucks come from Nairobi and other bigger towns and bring food stuff. And so you could go there and buy, 10 kilos of rice or 10 kilos of flour. And then they take it home and they put it in smaller bags. And they basically, within their community, it's not going to look like a shop to any of us if we were just driving by on the road. But the people that live there know, oh, this lady sells flour and sugar, and that lady sells shoes, and this lady sells something else. So within their communities, they start these little businesses just selling household goods, and people know what they're selling, and they never were able to do that before. So it serves a fantastic purpose. One more question? Anyone? Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about their experience and exposure to healthcare? Are there clinics or hospitals nearby? And if not, is that part of the plan?
Yes, that's an excellent question as well. There are some rural health clinics, and they struggle, to be honest, but they get funding from USAID and some bigger organizations. I would say there's a lot of local healers that know the medicinal properties of plants, and so there's a lot of that kind of local healing that goes on when needed. Women still are giving birth in their small bomas with a midwife kind of person. It's very much a concern in these areas. Where I stay when I go there, was a hospital that was started in the 1950s by some Italian doctors. I don't know how they found Samburu, but they came from Italy and they were part of a Catholic diocese. They started a hospital and a school. And so that was a real hub for healthcare. That hospital, unfortunately, had a lot of activities that were not correct, and the government came last summer and closed down the hospital. So I really fear for what's going to be happening in the next few years until they get that hospital going again, but healthcare is a real concern. It's a concern for me when I go there, that there's really very little access to any kind of healthcare that any of us would recognize, but there are some small clinics here and there. There's a small clinic in the town called Archer's Post where the Samburu National Reserve is, so when tourists are there and they want malaria medicine or something like that, they can get some minor health care there, but you're in trouble if you have anything more serious. Yeah. Do you want to wrap up?
Yeah.
Lily, let me say a few things when you're just about logistics. So you
Okay.
So Lily's going to talk to you about the walk on Sunday, and thank you again. It was really, really nice sharing our story. Sunday, and if you are so inclined to join our army of do-gooders, please think about making a small contribution. We have sheets outside where there's a QR code to make it really easy, and thanks again.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Just to mention, we are having a Samburu market sale in the lobby, so the beaded jewelry that we saw on the slideshow, there's necklaces, bracelets, earrings, tote bags and pencil cases that are from other businesses in Samburu. We can do cash, Venmo, or credit card. So if you want to check that out, please do. All the money will go to Samburu. And then obviously, as Linda mentioned, I've mentioned, there's the Walk for Water on Sunday. It's at 10 a.m. We're going to meet at the 2018 room and then walk to the cross-country trails and do a little loop on the cross-country trails. It'll be like a mile and a half, and then there'll be a brunch in the 2018 room after. So please come. It'll be really fun. It's supposed to be nice weather on Sunday. Hopefully it's supposed to warm up, so it should be a good time. Miss Lifter is bringing her corgi, so everyone should come. And yeah, I'll send out the form again that I sent before break. I'll send it out again tomorrow. So if you're interested, please fill it out. We'll give you a t-shirt. And yeah, thank you again.